Matthew has to earn more than 96 points on his high school entrance exam in order to be eligible for varsity sports. Each question is worth 3 points, and the test has a total of 40 questions. Let X represent the number of test questions. Based on the information provided, if Matthew answers exactly 32 questions correctly, will he qualify for varsity sports? Well, let's see. We're told that Matthew must earn more than 96 points. So the number of points Matthew earns, which is 3 points per question, that comes from this sentence, the second sentence. Each question is worth 3 points, so each telling you to multiply the number of questions by the number of points, so 3x. The number of points Matthew earns must be more than 96, so it's greater than 96. This x is the number of questions that Matthew must answer correctly. So let's solve and find out how many questions Matthew must answer correctly. We solve by dividing by 3. The number of questions Matthew must answer correctly is more than or greater than 32. So if he answers exactly 32 correctly, then he didn't answer enough correctly. He has to answer more than that, so 33, 34, anywhere up to 40. But more than 32, greater than 32, not equal to 32. So we already know it's not A or B because it's not enough. 32 is not enough to play varsity sports. C says no because he must answer more than 32 questions correctly. And that's exactly right. And then D, where it talks about him getting a part-time job, we don't know anything about a part-time job. So this right here, based on the information provided, tells us we can't choose D. So the answer is C. Mrs. Rose has 16 students in her class. Her class has 3 times as many girls as boys. How many girls and boys are in Mrs. Rose's class? With word problems, I love to start at the question, if there is one. Sometimes there's not a question and you're just told to do something, but that's great too. This question, how many girls and boys, tells us what we're looking for, what we're trying to find. And if we're trying to find it, it means it's a number we don't know. And for numbers we don't know, we use variables. So if we're trying to find how many girls there are, then G would be number of girls. And we're trying to find how many boys, so I'll use B for number of boys. Now we can go back to the problem and use these variables to set up equations. So first I see that she has 16 students in her class. That's the total, girls and boys. So the number of girls she has plus the number of boys she has is a total of 16 students. That's one equation. The next sentence gives us another equation we can write. Her class has 3 times as many girls as boys. 3 times as many girls. That means there are more girls than there are boys. In fact, you would take the number of boys and multiply that by 3 to find the number of girls. 3 times as many girls as there are boys. Now, I can use these 2 equations with substitution to find the number of girls and boys. I have here that the number of girls is equal to 3 times the number of boys. So I'm going to substitute 3b for G in this first equation. So it will now be 3B, I replace G with 3B, plus B equals 16. To solve for B, we first need to combine like terms. 3B plus B is 4B equals 16. Then we divide both sides by 4, and we find that the number of boys is 4. Once we found the number of boys, we can substitute that value back in for B. 3 times 4 is equal to the number of girls. 3 times 4 is 12, and 12 then is the number of girls. So there are 12 girls and 4 boys. Answer A. Liz set a goal to lose 30 pounds in 12 months. The figure below contains a bar graph that describes her weight in months 1 through 12. First, let's take a moment to look at our graph and really study it. We see our title is Liz's weight during a 12-month period. If we look at the x-axis, we see that we have months along the x-axis. So this would be month 1, month 2, month 3, and so on. And as we look at the y-axis, we can see that we have weight, Liz's weight, which is measured in pounds. So here we have 20 pounds, 40 pounds, 60 pounds, but then between those, we have other lines marked, and they're halfway between 20 and 40. So halfway between 20 and 40 would be 50. So really we have every 10 pounds marked off, but only every 20 pounds is labeled with a number. So that may come in handy later. Okay, I think we're ready to tackle the question now. It says, what was Liz's initial weight? That word initial is very important. Initial means to begin with, or what was her weight at the beginning? So in the first month. In the first month, we see that this bar goes all the way up to the 180 mark, which means Liz was 180 pounds to begin with.